Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to find good sources of information for research projects that you might be doing online. There are many places we can start to look for information online. Encyclopedias and library resources like databases are a good place to start, and you know that the information found there will be reliable. Make sure to watch our video about how to access the public library's online resources. But you'll also often want to search the internet in general to find information. So let's look at some tips for finding the information you need and making sure that it's reliable. Here's some tips for searching. You'll often go to a search engine like Google to find information. First tip is don't type full sentences into search engines. Try to use keywords instead. And a keyword is just an important word or term that relates to your topic. For example, say you're doing a project about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in the ocean. Some keywords might be Pacific Garbage Patch, or plastic pollution, or ocean plastic pollution. Don't just type something like, how big is the Pacific Garbage Patch? Or where's the Pacific Garbage Patch? Try to use keywords instead. Google has gotten a lot smarter and better at actually answering questions when you type in a full sentence, but its results can be kind of unreliable. Sometimes you'll get a good answer and sometimes you won't, and you'll be less frustrated if you get in the habit of using keywords instead. If you're searching for a phrase, try to put it in quotation marks. So for example, instead of just typing Pacific Garbage Patch, put all three words in quotation marks, and that way Google will search just for that phrase, those three words together in that specific order. Otherwise, it will just pull up every search result that has the words Pacific or garbage or patch. We can look at an example. We're going to go to Google and type in Pacific Garbage Patch without quotation marks. We get about 6 million results. If we put it in quotation marks so that we are only searching for things that have those three words in that order together, we're down to about 1/10 of that. Now you're still not going to trawl through 650,000 results, but this is a good habit to get into for when you're searching, and it'll help you. One other good tip is to try using Google Scholar instead of regular Google to find magazine articles and research studies. This is something that's useful if you are doing a project that requires a lot of information and you need lots and lots of sources. Let's go to Google Scholar and just have a look at what it looks like. The URL is scholar.google.com. And let's try that search again. Pacific Garbage Patch in quotation marks, of course. And we pull up many results, 3,000 results, so let's narrow that a little bit. Since this is a science-related topic, let's just look at articles that are fairly recent. We don't want old ones. Let's see since 2016, that's in the last 4 years. And now we've got quite a few here. We can even try ones in the last couple of years. And you'll notice that to the right of the articles that come up, some of them will have a link and some of them won't. The ones that don't have a link on the right are ones that you can't read online. They might be behind a paywall, which means that you have to subscribe to a particular journal or magazine to read them. So those ones won't be as useful. But if you do see the URL here, that means that you can actually read the article. So for example, this one, the environmental impacts of ocean garbage patches and possible solutions. That sounds like a good source for a project. So we'll just click on that and see what comes up. And now we have the entire 4-page article and its references, and we can read the whole thing. And that's something that would be a lot harder to find just in regular Google. So play around with this. It's a good source for you to try when you're doing a research project. Now, when you find a piece of information, an article or a website online, you're going to want to take a moment and think, is this a good source of information? It's more and more easy to find things that are not accurate online. And of course, you know that not everything you read is true. And when you're doing a school project, you really want it to be accurate. It's also easier than ever these days to distribute misleading or false information online, so you do have to be careful, especially if you're doing a project that is about current events, or even if you're just reading news articles for your own personal interest. Here are some things to think about when you find a website or an article that you'd like to use for research. Who wrote this? Do they know what they're actually talking about? Are they credible, believable? Do they have education or a job related to what they're writing about? Who do they work for? What can you find out about them? What's their agenda? What are they trying to do with this article? Do they have some sort of reason to mislead you? Are they selling you something? When was the article written, or when was the website created? Especially if you are studying a science topic, you'll want to make sure that it's not from like 15 years ago, because our understanding of things changes. This is something that you can apply also to written materials on certain topics. You don't want to use an atlas from 1970 in a geography project, and so the same applies to online sources. Is the website or the article trying to appeal to your emotions and make you scared or excited? You've all seen those kinds of headlines like, "You won't believe this one weird trick to stop plastic pollution. Doctors hate this. You won't believe it." Often when you see things like that, they're just trying to get more views or more clicks on the article, and they aren't as interested in making sure that things are accurate. Are there other sources out there that say the same thing as this website or article? If you come across a website that says this is the only place where you'll get the true information, everyone else is fake, or anything like that, or you find claims that you can't find backed up anywhere else, that can be a red flag. Let's have a look at some examples. When I did a Google search for plastic pollution in the oceans, here are some results that I found. Often when we're trying to figure out this information, we'll look for an about page on the website or something similar to try to find out all that information about the author and the website's agenda. So let's go to this first example. This was a page called "What is Marine Litter?" from a website called cleanseas.org. Let's have a look at that and see what it looks like. All right, this is a very attractive web page. It has some good information in infographic form. Very nice. But who are these people? Is their information credible? Let's try to find an about page. This is Clean Seas, Turn the Tide on Plastic. Where can we find information about this website? Usually you can find links to an about or FAQ page at either the very bottom or the very top of a website. And look, right here we say about. So let's see. So as we read the about page, we see that this website was launched from a United Nations Environment Partnership. So the United Nations, that's a governmental organization, it's probably a robust source of information. So just reading this, we're probably in the clear here. You can also find links to other people who are participating in the project, which is a good sign. Another example was an article called "7 Ways Plastic is Helping the Environment" that I found when I was looking for information about plastic pollution. Let's have a look at that one. This has 7 pretty compelling points about why plastic is actually not so bad for the environment. It has some interesting links. But who's writing this? Let's see. The website is from Superior Plastics. And who are they? Let's have a look at their About page. So it becomes quickly apparent that Superior Plastics is a company that sells plastic products. So when we think about the authorship, are they experts about plastic? Probably, because they sell it, but do they have an agenda here? Or if they're trying to sell plastic, they have a reason to say things that are nice about it and not to talk about negative things like bad environmental impacts. So does that mean that automatically everything that's written here is false? Not necessarily, but it's something to consider when you're thinking about sources of information. You will want to take any claims that you see here with a grain of salt and maybe try to find backup on them from other sources that are maybe less biased. What about Wikipedia, you're saying? Can I use Wikipedia as a source for my project? Wikipedia is a really great place to start research, but it's probably not the only source that you should consult. It's a good place to get an overview of a topic and to kind of get some other resources. When you are looking at a Wikipedia article on a topic that you want to research, scroll down to the bottom and check the references section. Those are links to all of the sources that the Wikipedia author consulted while writing the article. And those will often take you to good sources of information. And again, it shouldn't be your only source of information. And you should also always check with your teacher to see if they're okay with you using Wikipedia as a source of information. If you're ever having trouble with your homework or you need help finding information for a project, ask a librarian. We're here to help you. You can email us anytime at askus@nwpl.ca while we're closed. You can also get a library card, find more educational resources and things to do while the library is closed on our website at these links. Thanks for listening. Bye.